Hi guys, Samantha from Jessama Tutorials here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create a Natasha bead. Now, when creating a Natasha bead, I have found that cane ends seem to work the best. And also I find that the canes where you've done a whole bunch of skinner blends in the cane work really well for this technique. So I've got a whole bunch of cane ends from my skinner blend plug tutorial and also my skinner blend tutorial, which I had a few leftovers. And I've also got some from my striped border cane tutorial and my jelly roll tutorial. So that was 4 tutorials, and I'll include those in the links below if you're interested in looking at them. But basically those are the ones that I'm going to be using in my Natasha bead today. So I'm going to be doing 2 Natasha beads. I'm going to show you one where you basically just cut it in half, and I'm going to show you another one where you specifically shape it into a shape where you can do a 4-sided Natasha bead. So I'll just show you the 2-part one first. So you'll take your scraps and you'll just ball it into a solid ball like this. And that will get rid of any air bubbles and it will squish it together. And these are fairly soft. I worked with them just the other day. Okay, so you get them into a tube and then you just start twisting. And then as you twist, you'll find that your cane will start to get fairly rigid. When that happens, you want to just roll it, warm it up, loosen it up a bit, and you'll see that it's a lot more loose. Twist it again, and you'll find that it's a lot more rigid, and then you just roll it again. And you'll carry on doing that. If you carry on twisting while it's rigid, you'll find that you'll actually twist it so far that it will actually break. So just make sure that whenever it gets fairly rigid that you roll it and loosen it up, because otherwise you can break it. And the reason I'm twisting is because I want all of those bits and pieces to mix together and create an interesting pattern. And Natasha beads are unpredictable. You can never repeat the exact same pattern. So each one is unique. Now, depending on how many times you twist, it depends on how it will. So if you twist more, you'll create a busier pattern inside your Natasha bead. If you twist less, your pieces of clay inside there will be bigger. And so I judge between, so if I started with cane ends that were fairly busy and had a lot of detail with them, I'd twist less so my pattern doesn't become too busy so that it actually becomes muddy. If my cane ends were fairly simple, like this one, I'd want to twist more so that it doesn't end up boring. So you have to judge how much you should twist depending on what cane ends or scraps you used. Now, you can't really cut a Natasha bead out of this, so you want to condense this. And by doing that, you'll just squeeze your clay up against itself like this. Just like that. And once you've got it into a somewhat compact cylinder, you can then use your tile to compact it. See? And it doesn't matter if it overlaps, that's all part of the effect. That's quite cool, it creates a nice look. And then once you're done compacting, you'll just roll it on your tile to even it out. And then just compact it a little bit more. And you'll just do that over and over again until you get a stubby tube. Now actually, we have enough here to create 2 Natasha beads. So I'm going to cut this in half. And this is the one I'm going to cut in half for you, and this is the one that I am going to specifically shape. So, what you'll do now is you'll just flatten it into a rectangular shape, a rough rectangle shape. Then you'll bring over your acrylic rod, and you want nice sharp corners now. You don't really want rounded corners, so you'll spend a little bit of time shaping this into a fairly rectangular shape with corners. And the sharper the corners, the neater your piece is going to look and the better it's going to fit together. Just like that. Okay. Then you're going to take your blade, and I'm going to use my flexible tissue blade because it's thinner and so it will give a sharper cut. I'm just going to bring it over so you can see what I'm doing. And now when you're cutting with your tissue blade, because it's flexible, this one, I put tension on the edges so that it's rigid. I pull on each edge and I eyeball it up. Now usually my head would be over here so I can see exactly what I'm doing. So excuse me if my head gets in the shot a little bit. While I slice, you'll slice straight down the middle of the cane. And that is what you're going to get. You're going to get a mirror image. And now you'll spend a little bit of time pairing them up so that they fit exactly together. So it's like a kaleidoscope, just with one piece instead of 6 or 4. And this is why you want the sharp ends, because it will fit together better. And so that's basically the 2-part one. And now you could just flatten this out a little bit and squeeze it all together so that it's one piece of clay. On the back here, so you just want to piece it all together like this. So it's one piece and it's all stuck together. And then you can take that and cut something out of it, and that's your bead. But let's say you don't really want to do that. Let's say you want a a mirror image on all sides of your bead, and you want it to be like a 3-dimensional bead instead of a flat bead. What you'll do then, actually I've got too much here, I'll cut this bit off. Okay, so the amount of clay that you're going to start with is the size your bead's going to be. So just make sure that you have the right amount before you start. So I'm going to form this into a cylinder. Well, no, not a cylinder, it was already in a cylinder. I'm going to form it into a straight dagger shape. So a spear. And I'll use my tile to do that for me. And you want to spend a bit of time making sure that you get this right. And you want to flatten out the top as well. Make sure that it's all symmetrical before you start. Okay, and then you want to start flattening it. So just like the other one, you want it in a flat rectangular shape, but this time it's going to be in a spear shape. So you want to have 4 corners. So spend a bit of time molding that into the right shape, and then you can take your roller and very lightly go up and down to form up those corners neatly. And then it will fit together much better. And you know, it kind of looks really pretty the way it is at the moment. I mean, you could use it the way it is as well. There's this strange agatey look to it, almost. Not quite. Okay. So that's about right. Just go and check, make sure that it's to your liking, because once you've cut it and you can't go back. But you can always remold it when it's like this. Okay. So I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to be using my flexible blade again. I'm just going to bring it closer to me so I can see. And I'm going to put pressure on my blade. Then my head's getting in the shot, sorry. And I'll cut straight down the piece. And I'll open it up. And now this side of the piece had the striped border cane and the jelly roll, and so it's a bit more busy. But it's quite pretty, I like it. So you'll form those sides together, make sure that they're equal. And you could just use it like this, you could use it flat like it is. That's pretty interesting as it is. So you could use your bead like that, but you could go a step further. I take my tissue blade again and we're going to cut it in half on each side again. And I'll just remove that side and I'll do the exact same on this side. But this can be a little tricky. And you'll take your piece and you'll mirror it up on the other side. So it was like this. These pieces were joined. So you pick this up and you'll flip this, and that should give you the mirror image on the other side. So you'll make sure to line these up properly as well. And now the problem is my piece is a little warm at the moment, and so it's flopping around all over the place. Oops. There we are. And then this other piece was like this. You'll flip it as well, so that you get a mirror image. And line that up. And then on the other side, you should have a mirror image as well. This last side can be a little tricky. There we are. And you'll just condense each side to make sure that you got it all pieced together, right? So you don't want any holes. And now you can spend quite a bit of time making sure that this is all nice and flat and even and pretty by smoothing your finger over it to get rid of any seams. And then let's say this is too long for your liking, you can just squish it back up very carefully. And that is basically your bead. And so you want to spend quite a bit of time getting rid of any seams that you might have had and evening out all the sides. But that is basically all there is to it. So here's the other one. And now we always had that little piece left. I'm just going to flatten that one out for you again, because this side was done with the striped border cane in it and with the jelly roll in it, so it's a bit more busy than this side. So this side had larger cane pieces and it was that Skinner blend one, so you're going to get simpler, a simpler pattern in it, which is pretty, but I want to show you what the busy pattern looks like. Okay. Take my blade, cut in half, so you can see we've got a busier pattern here. And this is what you'll get if your canes are a bit more complex. You'll just piece them together. There you are. Wait, I'll do it the other way around because of course you're seeing this upside down. There we go. That's what they look like. And that's basically how you create a Natasha bead. So this one over here takes quite a bit of practice. I still struggle with it from time to time, as you need to make sure that you cut it exactly right. These ones are a lot easier to create, so if you're just starting with a Natasha bead, I recommend starting out with these ones and then progressing to this one. But that's basically it. And so I do hope that this tutorial was helpful to you, and if it was, please do check the links below, as there'll be links to more tutorials like this one. And if you're on my website, jessamaTutorials.com, check below the video, as there will be a form down there where you can send in your pictures of your Natasha beads, and I look forward to seeing them. And if you're watching this on YouTube, do check the links below, as there'll be a link to my website, jessamatutorials.com. I've got articles, forms where you can send in your pictures, tips and tricks, and so much more that I can't actually host on YouTube that I'm sure that you'll find helpful. So please do go check that out, and I look forward to seeing you there. And as always, I hope to see you in the next video, and bye for now.